Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Digital Things, where we at Trinex like to discuss all things digital water and how we can help water and wastewater utilities tackle their pressing digital challenges. I'm joined today by Peter Martin, a digital solutions consultant here at Trinex. Pete, thanks for joining us. I'd like to chat with you today about how, in this new world of AI, how can the people who are working at water and wastewater utilities be ready for this? And how can they learn about the positive applications of AI? I know one way we like to talk about this at Trinex is under the idea of a crawl, walk, run, fly framework. Love to chat with you about the first two steps of this process, crawl and walk. How would you define these stages, and what advice do you have to share for utilities who might be in this part of their journey?
Yeah, hey Jay, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. Great question. And this is a topic that I've been chatting with a lot of water and wastewater utilities here in the US over the last year or so. Yeah, the digital journey, which you mentioned, is useful to kind of enforce the conversation and get things going with where people are in their journey. So we like to break down the digital journey for utilities into 4 steps, like you said: crawl, walk, run, fly. And not everybody's in the same place in this journey. The first couple of steps really help to establish a baseline and a direction for where the utilities want to go with their technology. Starting off at the crawl stage, we're thinking about establishing a roadmap. That's really the biggest thing that people can do when they're first starting off. They may be wondering about how AI can help them. Maybe they're asking about things like digital twins. But first, starting off with a roadmap, and in some cases, we also call this an AI master plan, really helps utilities kind of get their ducks in the row, figure out where they can find the most value from digital water, whether that be AI or just analytics software in general. We tend to do some current state assessments. We assess where the utility currently is with their IT infrastructure, their OT or operational technology, and some of their digital systems that they've been investing in over the years. We then benchmark where they are versus other utilities that have already started, maybe gone through the digital journey. And then at the end, they have a clear view on what their priorities are related to digital water, maybe what some of the things they have to tackle in the short term might be, and maybe some of the investments that they might be up to for the next 3, 5, maybe even up to 10 years down the road. So that's kind of the crawl stage where we like to start that conversation. Next up would be walking, and moving utilities up from the crawl stage to the walk stage could go a number of different directions. Every utility is slightly different, but every utility is operating a lot of the same types of systems, like SCADA for remote telemetry and control. There's GIS for geographic information systems. There's work management. There's financial management software. So most utilities have invested in these great IT systems that really help them become more efficient. But a lot of times these systems don't get integrated, and they form what we call silos, where a user of one system may not be able to access another system, and then management has a tough time getting data out for doing things like reporting and tracking the performance of the utility. So one of the things we do is we focus on automating reports that take a long time for staff to generate, and they may have to pull information from multiple systems. And the other thing that people are really focused on right now are dashboards. So dashboards are really great ways to look at high level summary type of information. How are we performing? How are the teams doing? What areas do we need training in? Things like that. And then lastly, we focus on cybersecurity at the walk stage, because once you start connecting systems up, you might be leveraging cloud computing or cloud platforms. And then cybersecurity becomes very important to protect the critical data that these utilities have. So it's kind of a summary of the walk stage, and happy to expand on that if there's any questions.
Great. Thank you, Pete. Great perspective to share. When you were talking about the crawl stage, you had mentioned an digital roadmap or an AI master plan. Can you unpack that a little bit more for us and maybe share an example?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I like to say is that to utility management is that you should be planning with a roadmap, and know your ROI before you start. What's the return on investment for AI or for digital water tools? What you'd like to avoid is investing in something that doesn't have a clear ROI. It's hard to gauge whether those types of investments are successful. So we've been working with a few utilities, and one in particular in Southern California, a large sanitation district. Staff was directed by their general manager to investigate AI and come up with a top 10 list on ways that AI or machine learning could benefit that utility. And part of that is to investigate return on investment. So staff is looking at tools to use both in the office for administrative staff and also in the operational and maintenance side of things to optimize operations. And so we're helping them with calculating what the expected return is, what areas could most benefit from optimization or automation or even AI for doing things like predictive analytics. And these may be things that are down the road in what I call the running or flying stage, but the utilities could be planning for it now and calculating what their ROI is. So when they get to those stages and they get questions from other stakeholders, they're well equipped to drive the value of the process and clearly communicate that with everybody.
That's great. Thank you, Pete. Thinking back on the walk stage a little bit, you had mentioned the importance of integrating data silos. Same question. What more can you tell us? And do you have an example to share?
Yeah, I do. You know, when we get to walking, like I said before, there generally are data silos that just form naturally at utilities through no fault of anybody. So in the process of looking at things like automating reports and generating live KPI dashboards, it becomes really important to centralize data. And we're helping a large wastewater utility in Southern California do this right now by implementing an enterprise data warehouse. And this is not something you can just get off the shelf. It requires some forethought. And we're meeting with various groups at the utility, learning about how they use the systems, who needs what data from what systems. And then we're designing and building them an enterprise data warehouse, which will take pertinent, important, key information from a variety of systems, whether they be on-premise or in the cloud, and centralize that data. So then other stakeholders can access that directly in a safe and secure way. They can generate their reports much more quickly than they could before. And they can share performance and track performance with other stakeholders at the utility.
That's fantastic. Pete, thanks so much for joining today and sharing your expertise on these topics.
My pleasure, Jay. Thanks a lot.